Welcome to the Forever Cash Life Real Estate Investing Podcast with your hosts, Jack and Michelle Bosch. Together, let's uncover the secrets to building true wealth through real estate and living a purpose-driven life.
Welcome to the Forever Cash Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Bosch. So today, I wanted to come to all of you and talk about, I think, a topic that is going to be incredibly beneficial, whether you are flipping land or really in a business where you're bringing either a VA or part-time help or full-time help for that matter to work in your business. So we had a question a little bit ago, like a couple of days ago, inside of our coaching program from someone, a student asking, what kind of tools and software do you use to manage your VA's time, to kind of like look at what they're doing. Are they, doodle daddling, or are they actually working on the stuff that you're working? And when I originally, saw that question being posted, my very first impression was, well, who have you hired that, makes you feel like you need to be constantly watching and micromanaging, that person that you bring on board? I thought that there was a disconnect, that there was an underlying problem there. But just in general, I just want to mention, that there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of softwares out there, a lot of technology that can help you, track tasks, and that can help you manage, the time of or really monitor the time that your VA or your team is working and taking on certain tasks and so on and so forth. I'm not a big believer of micromanaging anyone. That's just not my style. But I do recommend the following, and this is what I recommend, because I know that all of these are out there and they can be used, but no tool in the world is going to really give you a human being that is in alignment if you have not, to begin with, recruited for alignment, number one, and you have not developed a plan to onboard this person. So part of, the 4 pillars of business are your why. So why are you doing, the business that you're in right now? Who is helping you, bring that why and that what, whatever it is that you're doing. In our case is land flipping, really to fruition, and doing the work and doing the production and doing the strategy and doing the things that need to be done in order for us to accomplish a result and actually have, a 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 check in our bank account. So you're going to have team that is going to be production. You're going to have team that is perhaps a little bit more strategy, and in the beginning, it could be that the strategy and production all falls on you, but at some point you start bringing in someone that is going to help you with production. And because you have done this before, you kind of have an idea of what it takes, to deliver on certain tasks that need to be done, whether it be on the acquisitions or on the disposition on the sales of the property when you're trying to market and, across all channels, or create marketing listings and so on and so forth. So I always like starting by, with this second pillar of the who, having established a clear onboarding plan. And part of that onboarding plan should be you developing or coming up with how the day in the life of your VA should look like. And what I mean by that is, time blocks where you've basically, if that VA is going to help you with a little bit of marketing, with a little bit of scrubbing, list, with a little bit of research, with whatever it is that they're going to be working for you, that you have basically established that, on day Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, this is how their day is going to look like for anything that has to do with marketing and listings. And you have time blocks assigned to them where they're going to be actually, developing new listings, from 9 to noon, and they're going to be working on from 1 to 2 on perhaps renewing across all platforms wherever your listings are being placed, or they're going to be working on any other admin stuff that you're having them work on. But I think it's very, very crucial and important for someone that comes onto your team to know what success looks like in a day in the life of a person or of a team member of your company or of your small business. Yeah. And so that would be my number one, is basically having a clear plan of how a day in the life of your VA looks like. And then once you have established that, because you have done more than likely and worn all hats yourself, anywhere from picking a county to sending out letters to scrubbing the list to making offers, or to doing research, making offers, sending out offers, getting offers accepted, bringing them in opening escrow, like all of these tasks basically of the entire deal flow, you have done yourself. You more than likely know exactly how long it took you when you were starting out, how long does it take you now. So you want to start setting metrics. Like, for example, if part of the tasks that you're going to be outsourcing to a VA is going to be creating listings for you, it's going to be, okay, it takes me now that I am good at this, or that I know what I'm doing, X amount of time to create X amount of listings. I'm going to start by, instead of having them create in a 3-hour block 10 listings, I'm going to have them start with creating 3 listings, in this 3-hour time block. I'm going to estimate and overestimate that it's going to take them about an hour, because it's something new. They've never done it before. And for maybe the first few weeks, you have a metric of, it's going to be 3 listings a day. And if they're working for you 3 times a week, maybe it's going to be 9 listings a week that you should expect to have been delivered to you for you to go over and train. So that's something that is, I think people forget in terms of telling someone not just what success looked like and what is the criteria for success, but in what time frame and how much of what you're asking them to do should be delivered in that time frame. Basically, what level of production needs to be developed, produced during that time frame. And that's where I think the third component of bringing someone on board should be a daily huddle. A daily huddle, I know, may sound like you're micromanaging someone, but you really are not. It's an incredible investment in a new person, in a new life, in a new family that now depends on you, and that depends on your feedback for them to really be successful and really help you get an ROI, not just an ROI in what you are paying them, and your costs, or your cost basis, your investment in that person from a salary standpoint or hourly or however you're paying that person, but it's also return on involvement. And we forget, we are always, as investors, we're thinking about ROI from the point of view of return on investment on our dollars, but we forget about return on involvement, and you being involved and really connecting, having a human connection on a daily basis, especially during that 90-day, ramp up period when you're onboarding someone, and really understanding what moves them, what triggers them, what makes them perform really well, and helping them understand that the metrics that you're setting for them really are helping them advance their own personal goals. But how can you talk about advancing personal goals if you don't know the human that is working for you? If you don't know that perhaps part of their dreams and desires and goals and personal goals is to get into a new home by Christmas and have enough down payment into a new home. If you can all of a sudden connect, that personal financial goal that they have to the metric that you're having for them right now, whereas if they deliver X number of, listings, their pay is such, and if they can deliver above that, there's a bump or a little raise or something to incentivize them to meet their goal, then you're kind of like expecting something of someone really in a vacuum without really that human connection and their connection to their own personal goals, and really helping them understand how what may seem like a completely unrelated task to their own personal goals really is part of being in the game towards attaining those dreams. And that's how you bring people into alignment into what you're doing, and where you can really assess whether they're a good fit or not. And when you have those daily huddles, it gives you the benefit to say, okay, so, if we had 3 listings as a deliverable, as a metric, for yesterday, and now, yesterday, I know it was Sunday, but, the time of this recording today is Monday. And if on Monday you meet with them and it's not been done, well, let me understand why not. Is it because you don't understand, something on the actual task, and therefore they will require more of your training and support? Or is it because, they, instead of working on your listings, they were working on someone else's listings because that person is not 100% devoted to you, and rather work for someone else that is going through these 3 steps of creating a plan of how their day should be looking like, metrics, and has a daily huddle, and have a personal connection with them, and therefore they love working for that person. But for you, they just like working for you, but they don't love working for you. Yeah. And so that's why it's so important. And I know that this is something that we kind of don't just, we're born with this knowledge. You have to have had the experience of bringing someone on board. And recognizing that when you bring someone on board, especially if it's not your family and they're not committed, because family is usually incredibly committed. Like Jack and I, we have each other's backs. We know we're dream building together. We know what our life vision is, and we want to bring that vision to reality. And so we know what each other's personal goals are, and what our joint goals, as a couple and as a family are. And we can translate those into the mundane task of the everyday things that just need to be done consistently every day. And we're able to connect that, but not everyone is able to connect that in the beginning. And so as you are bringing someone on board, that those things are going to be necessary. That connection is going to be necessary. And you want to be meeting with them on a daily basis. This daily huddle is almost like, I want to say, it's not a suggestion. It is actually something that I would love to advise you to and invite you to do, if you bring someone on board, especially during that first 90-day period is so critical. And then you can back off from it happening every day, maybe to only 3 times a week, a touch point at the beginning of the week, midweek, and at the end of the week, but never go weeks without a touch point, with whoever's working from you, so that you can really ascertain and assess, are we continue to be in alignment? Do you understand what we're trying to accomplish? Do we understand the tasks at hand? Do we know how to do this? Do I need to do more training? Do I need to do more support? Because what I have learned also is that, anyone that you bring on board has the best intentions of helping you out. Everyone is operating out of incredibly great intentions. And when something is not working or is not being done, it is not from bad intent or malintent, or they're out to get you, or they're out to not work on the things that you have given out to someone. It's because, number one, maybe they don't understand why, they don't understand what success looks like, and or they might not understand how to do it, or and so on and so forth. So important, in my opinion, to have these 3 things, and these things really, along with the metrics and goals that you might have for that particular week or even a month. If it's weekly, if it's a sales team, the daily huddle is even more important. And it really drives behavior. It really drives behavior to have the metrics, to have the time blocks showing what success looks like, and having the daily huddles to really ascertain the level of real alignment, that person has, or not, to your mission, to the service that you're bringing into the marketplace. Because if they don't have it, you want to recognize that quickly versus, investing months and months into someone that is not going to work out. So you want to know that rather quickly, but how are you going to know if you're only checking on them and then being frustrated with someone because, you check on them only every other week, and when you check with them every other week, something has not been done, and then you lose morale as well because you're not moving and you're not progressing and moving forward as fast as you would like to have been, because of that. So it requires, us going from a solo entrepreneur to a little bit of a manager, and then a little bit of a manager connecting the human and personal connection goals to moving into leadership as well, and having a combination of those three things in there, and having a better understanding of what's going to move them in order for them to for you to not have to feel like you have to be micromanaging or taking screenshots of their time because you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're doodle or doodle daddling on Facebook or on social media versus working on the work that you have to be done. And that's why, these goals and these metrics, it doesn't matter if someone then, takes 3 hours to do it or takes 1.5 hours to do them. If you have set them, then they're in set and they're delivering. And what you do is, as a person gets better and better and better at what they're doing, what you're going to see is that you're going to establish metrics that are initial benchmarks for them. And then you're going to be continuously pushing the bar up and continuously pushing the bar up, so that they can really step up every 90 days into a new version of themselves, of the things that they're capable of doing, that they feel confident in doing. And that production, leads to higher or that to a higher level of production and performance. If you stack kind of like the metrics, you want to always keep on, stretching and stretching and stretching and growing, because if we're not growing, we're dying. And so during that, as you onboard, those first 90 days will be super important to understand whether that person is the right fit and whether they're going to work out and they're meeting their goals, meeting their metrics. And then after those 90 days, it's a constant, I would say, challenging of a person, of incentivizing, of elevating them, and you being able to feel like you don't have to hover so much and lean forward, but actually lean a little bit back and trust in the team that you have, that they can do what needs to be done, whether you're there or not. And that's part of a lot of entrepreneurs understanding that we gain our freedom back by having a return on involvement in our team that we bring on board to help us advance our whys, our dreams, our goals, our mission, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the topics that, we discussed during coaching. And if you liked and enjoyed today's show, make sure you leave us a written review. It helped us, it really helps with rankings, and it helps us really get to more people and really spread our message of a life that is abundant, a lifestyle of freedom and generational legacy wealth through land flipping, just like Jack and I, we're able to use land flipping as a stepping stone to create and to really live those 3 goals and those 3 dreams. We want many more people out there. We're on a mission to create 1,000 millionaires, and we need your help. So leave us a review, share this podcast if you, with someone that might also find it helpful, whether they're scaling a land flipping business or not. The principles still stay the same. So thank you so much. And I look forward to another episode of the podcast with you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.